Hello, welcome to another video of Code Snippet. And in this video, we are going to look into Java Stream interview questions. And this time, the level is again going to be intermediate. So in the last video, we have seen few intermediate questions. And before that, we have seen easy and super easy questions as well. And in this video, we are going to look into more intermediate level interview questions. So let's get started without wasting any time. This is going to be another fun video. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Alright, so let's quickly jump into the agenda of this particular video. So Java Stream coding interview questions, and the level is going to be intermediate. So in the last video, we have seen these intermediate questions, and in this particular video, we are going to look into more intermediate level interview questions on Java Streams, right? So these are the questions we are going to cover in this particular video. So let's get started with the first one. So the first one is find the highest paid salary in each department. So let's say again we have employees, right? So we have list of employees, we have this list of object over here, inside which we have ID, name, department, and salary. Now we have this list of employees over here, right? And what do we want to do this time? We want to find the highest paid employee in each department. Now if you see over here, we have HR department, we have 2 employees. Among these 2, Paul has highest salary. So we want to just return Paul in HR. In finance, we have only 1 employee, so we'll return that. In IT, we have Mike who has higher salary, so we'll return that one. So this is basically the output we are looking for. Now, if you remember, we have seen similar example in the last video where we found out the average salary by department, right? So finance had this average salary, HR had this average salary, like that. But in this case, we don't really want to find the average salary. We want to find the employees who have maximum salary in that particular department. The implementation is going to be pretty similar to this one, but there will be a little bit of tweak in this particular question, right? And let me tell you, this is a famous interview question and frequently asked inside product-based companies as well as service-based companies as well, okay? So let me go back over here in the canvas, and if you remember, this is something which we have seen in the last video. We have seen what exactly is grouping by and how it works, right? So if you haven't checked that video, I will recommend you go ahead and check it out. The last intermediate video that I have covered. Now, let's say we have this list, right? We have 5 employees over here. Now, when we do grouping by, we need 2 parameters, right? First one, let's say here is department, because we want to group by department. We want to find the highest salary by department, right? So when we say by department, first thing we need to do is group by department. So we'll say department over here. So first thing will be department over here. Now the moment we group by department, our keys will be department because the output is going to be map, right? So the key in this case will be department. So there will be one key for HR, there will be another key for finance, let's say, and there will be another key for which one? IT department, right? So we have 3 departments over here. Now let's go back over here and let's try to do this much part over here. I will just zoom it a bit so that it's clearly visible. So here what I will do, as we did in the last video, we will just say employees dot stream, and what we'll do, we'll say collectors dot to, not to set, we will say collectors dot grouping by, and in the grouping by, what we will do, we will group by employee. So we'll say employee dot get department. So we'll group by department, right? And let's say we just want to collect it into a list. So we'll just say collectors dot, we'll just say to list. And let's try to collect it into a variable and let's try to print it. So what I will do, I'll just say collect. Now what we did, we are just grouping by department, collecting it as a list. That means our key will be your group and the value will be list of employees falling in that group. What I will do, I'll just run this. So now if you see the output, in the finance we have 1 employee, in the HR we have 2 employees. So there is John, there is Paul. And in IT department, we have again 2 employees, Jane and Mike, right? So here, just by using to list in the second parameter, we are able to group these employees by using their department. So here you will have 2 employees, here you will have 1 employee, here you will have 2 employees, right? So that is the output we are getting. But that is not something we want, right? What do we want? We want only employee which has maximum salary within that department, right? What do we need to do? We need to change this second condition. So let me just remove this and let me just change the second condition. And here a new function comes into picture, which is max by, right? Now what max by will do, it will accept a comparator. That means You want to find the maximum, but based on what? There are many values inside this particular employee. We have ID, we have name, we have HR, we have salary. On which basis you want to find the maximum within the group? So I want to find maximum by using salary. So I'll just say comparator.comparing, and here I will pass? I will just pass employees.get salary. So I'll just say employee.get salary. So by using this employee salary, I want to find the maximum within this group. And now I try to return this variable. You will see that we are getting map of string and optional of employee. That means there will be only one employee in this case. Now if I try to run this code, then you will see in the finance we only have one, in the HR again we only have one, but this time it is Paul only because Paul have maximum salary in that department. After that inside IT we have Mike who has highest salary again. So if you see, we are filtering by using this. So a new function comes into picture over here is max by. So here the second function will be max by, right? Now what will happen over here? First it will group the employees, right? So for HR, how many employees we have? We have two employees. We have Paul and we have John, right? So two employees will be falling in HR department when we group by department. Now the next function is max by. So within this department, now HR department have two employees, right? This one and this one. Now within these two, we are applying the second method, which is max by. Within these two, who has maximum what? Who has maximum salary? Who has maximum salary? That will be added inside this particular output, right? So in this case, it will be Paul. In this case, it will be Sarah, right? Because there is only one basically, so it will be the same one. And in the IT, again, it will be Mike. That's how your max by will return the maximum element in each department group. So that is how you can simply solve this problem. Pretty simple stuff, right? So a new function basically comes into picture, which is max by. In the similar fashion, you will have min by as well to find the minimum, right? So that is basically our first question for this particular video. Pretty simple stuff. Alright, so let's proceed to the next one, and the next one is find all departments with more than 2 employees, or it can be more than n employees, right? Now here, if you see, if I go back to the code over here, then we have a lot of employees over here. And here if you observe, we have 3 employees in IT, we have 2 employees in HR, we have 2 employees in finance, and we have 1 employee inside operations. Now we want to find the department which has employees greater than 2. And the answer is IT over here because only IT have employees greater than 2 over here. So the question is to find the department which has employees greater than 2. So the head count, basically head count greater than 2. So IT has more than 2 employees, right? Now here if you see, this is basically something that we can get by using grouping by and counting function. So if you remember, we have made use of counting function, right? Instead of using max by, if we use counting method, then instead of getting this, we will get the count of each department. Basically HR will get 2, finance will get 2, IT we will get 3, and operations we will get 1, right? So this is what the output we will get if we use counting over here, right? What we will do, let's quickly try to implement counting over here. So what I'll do, I'll just say employees.stream, and here I will say collect, inside that collectors.grouping by, and inside grouping by, now what we will do, first of all, we will give department, right? So we'll just say employees.get department, and the second parameter over here will be our counting function, which is basically collectors.counting, right? So I'll just say collectors.counting. Now this should return as the count of each employee. It should return as the map with count of each employee. Now if I try to print this, let's see what happens. Let me run this quickly and let's see the output. There are duplicate commas over here. Let me remove that and let's rerun it. There we go. So we are getting the count of each department. So we have 2 employees in finance, 2 employees in HR, 3 employees in IT, and 1 in operations. So we are getting this now. Now what is our question? The question is to find all department with more than 2 employees. Now we have this output. We can consider this map as an input now to us. And what do we want to do? We want to filter the department which has value more than 2. So we just want to make use of simple filter in this case. So what you can do now, you can have a separate stream. So here how we can convert a map to a stream? We can do that by using entry set, right? Now what entry set will do, each element inside this map, it will add inside a set, and each element inside set will be the key and value pair. Let me just paste it over here to visualize. So this is what your entry set will do. Consider this as a set now, where each element is a pair of your key and value. So it's a key and value and key and value. So inside this set you have 3 elements. Each element contains the key and value. So that is something entry set will give you. And now on this entry set we can apply stream, right? And here what we can do now, we can just say filter. Now for each employee inside this particular stream, what we will do, we'll just say employees.getValue. Now here the key will be your department and the value will be the count. So the get value should be greater than 2, right? So that is what we want basically. Now what this will do, this will filter our elements, right? So now what I will do, I'll just say to list, and let's see what happens over here. And let's try to print this list basically, and let's try to run it. Now if you see over here, the output, we are getting IT equals to 3, right? This is basically our desired output. But now let's say I only want IT and I don't really want count over here. So what I can do, I can just say map. So I can just make use of a map function over here, and here I can just say map.entry, and I'll say get key over here. So from this entry set, what we are doing, we are just getting a key, and now we are converting it to list. So if I introduce a local variable now, it will just give me a list. And if I try to run this over here, then you will see we are getting list of string basically, and this is basically the output we are looking at. So now what we did, we made use of 2 different stream pipelines over here, not only 1 but 2. Now I have created these 2 pipelines for demonstration purpose, but what you can do, you can merge these 2 pipelines as well. What I'll do, I'll just merge these 2 pipelines. So if you see over here, until this statement we are going to get this map, right? So I can just say map dot entry set, right? And I can just append this over here, and I'll just say dot stream, basically same stuff that we have provided over there. And I will just remove this, and if you see over here, it is basically the same pipeline, just that I'm combining 2 pipelines over here, and within the same pipeline we are trying to get the entire result over here, right? Now what I will do, I will collect it into a variable. This time it will return us a list. And now if I try to run this code, let's see what happens. Now if you see, we are just getting IT as our output. That's how you can combine 2 streams and just generate one output. So now what we did, we made use of employees.stream, then we collected it by using grouping by and counting function, department and counting function. So we got a map. On that map, we did entry set.stream. We filtered for each employee, employee.getValue should be greater than 2. And after that, we mapped it because we only want the key of this particular entry set. We don't want the value. After that, we did to list, and we got the list of string where we are getting this. If I do 1 over here, then all the departments who have employees greater than 1 will be returned. So if you see over here, finance, HR and IT is returned, and your operations is not returned because operations only have 1 employee. So that is how you can simply solve this problem. Pretty simple stuff, right? So this is also we have seen. Alright, so let's proceed to the next one, and the next one is find the department with highest average salary. Now if you see over here, we have this list of employees, right? And we want to find the department which has highest average salary. Now if you remember, we have seen something like this, right? Where we have found the average salary of each department. So if I run this code, it will give us the average salary of each department, right? That is something which we have seen in the last video, right? Now this is basically the enhancement of same thing. Let's try to implement what we already know. So I'll just say employees.stream. Here I will make use of a collect method. Inside collect, we'll make use of collectors.grouping by. Inside grouping by, now we will first say on what basis we want to group. So we want to group on department, and the next thing we are going to add is your collectors dot averaging double, and averaging double based on what? Salary. So I'll just say employees dot get salary. And now if I collect it into a variable and try to print it, let's see what output we are getting. Let me try to run this. And if you see over here, we are getting the average salaries by each department. Now which one is maximum over here? This one, right? So that is basically the output we want over here. Now again what we can do, we can just say collect, and now on this we can apply stream basically on this map, right? Now here I can make use of max method, and max method will return me the maximum of what we want, the maximum of the value over here. So I can just say map.entry, and there is a method called as comparing by value. It will compare by value and find the maximum of those. And here if nothing is found, we will just make use of or else throw. And now I will just collect it into a variable, and let's try to quickly print it. Now if I run this code, you will see that we are getting only one output, which is basically your IT department, which is maximum of all, right? So again, we made use of two different pipelines over here. One to find the average salaries, and second one to find the maximum of those average salaries, right? That is basically how you can solve it. Again, you can merge these two pipelines as well. So I will just go ahead and remove this, and let me remove this one as well, because it will return us separate output. And if you see over here, again we have merged these two streams, and now if I run this code, you will see that we are getting the similar output. So again, by using this, we can merge two streams over here basically. So again, a simple question basically, again a variant of the question that we have already seen. So that is something we have seen as well. Alright, so let's proceed to the next one, and the next one is find most frequent character inside the string. Now this is again a famous interview question on strings. Now here if you see in this string, we have A occurring 3 times. So it is a most frequent character inside this particular string. So that is basically the output that we are looking for. Now what we could do, if we could convert this guy to a stream of characters like this. If we can convert this stream to a stream of characters like this, BANANA, then we can easily count each letter by using grouping by. But the question is how we can convert this string to this stream. Now let's see how we can do that. So first of all, what we will do, we'll say input.chars. Now what input.chars will return, if I collect it into a variable, it will return us int a stream of chars, right? Now if I try to print it by using for each, you will see each element. So if you see over here, it is returning us the equivalent of each element, numeric equivalent of each character, right? So now what do we want to do? We want to convert this guy back to character again. What we can do, we can just say map to object, and for each character, let's say C, what do we want to do? We want to typecast it to a character. So for each character C, we will typecast it, and after that we will get a stream of character, right? So that is what we are looking at. Now we got the stream of character, right, by using this approach. So the stream of character is going to be similar to this one. Now as we got the stream of character, what we can do, we can perform collect operations. We can just say collectors dot grouping by, and in the key, what we can give over here now we want to count each word, so we'll just give the identity function. We have given it in the one of the example, right, in the last video. So identity is basically, it will return the same character. And now here we will just say collectors dot counting, and now if I try to collect it into a variable and try to print this map, let's say what it is giving. There we go. So we are getting the count of each word. Now we just simply need to return the maximum of these count, and we have already done that, right? So we can just say map.entrySet.stream, and similar to last example, we can make use of max method. We can just say map.entry, and we can just say comparing by value, because we want to compare by using these values right over here. And here we can just say or else throw, and let's try to collect it into a variable, and let's try to print that. And now if I run this code, we will get the respective output, which is a equals to 3, which is the most frequent character over here. And again, I can just go ahead and remove this part and merge these two pipelines and collect it into a respective variable over here. I'll just say alt enter, and it will give me that variable. And now if I try to run this code, we will get the similar output again, right? Simple stuff basically. So what we did, first input.chars gave us int stream. After that, we have converted it to stream of character by using map to object. After that, we made use of collect function and grouping by function to count the occurrence of each character inside this particular stream. After that, we made use of entry set.stream and made use of max function to find the maximum value of each entry, the maximum we caught in this particular variable, and this is basically the output that we are looking into. Simple stuff, right? Very, very simple stuff. We have reused a lot of things. Just that when it comes to a stream, you need to convert that stream into stream of characters by using this approach. That is basically the addition in this particular question. So now if I go back over here, we have covered this one as well. Alright, so find first non-repeating character inside a string. So let's say we have the string over here, and if you see S is repeating 3 times. But what we want to do, we want to find the first element which is not repeating. Here in this case we have W. What do we want to do? In the last example what we did, we find the most frequent. Now here we want to find the first non-repeating, that is least frequent, and that also is the first, right? Now we can go ahead and make use of similar approach over here. So by using same way we can find the count of each word, right? So I can just make use of same stuff over here. I can just say string.chars. Here I can say map to object for each character C inside this particular stream. What I will do, I will just typecast it to char, right? After that what I will do, I will say collect collectors dot grouping by. Inside grouping by, what I will do, I will give the identity function. So I will say function dot identity. After that I will just say collectors dot, after that I will just say collectors dot counting. I'll just say collectors dot counting, and let's try to collect it into a variable saying map, and let's try to print that map. And now if I run this code, you will see we are getting this output. And now again in the same pipeline, what we can do, let's try to enhance this pipeline and let's try to provide the extension. So we can just say map.entrySet. After that we can make use of stream again, and we can just say filter this time, because we want to filter where value is equals to 1, right? So I will just go ahead and say for each entry over here, I'll say entry dot get value is equals to 1. That means we will get all the entries which have value as 1 over here, right? So we will get these 2 entries over here. After that I can just go ahead, I can just say find first. That means I want to find the first among them, and let's try to get it into a variable now, and let's try to print this first. Now if I run this code, you will see we are getting the respective output. But now here if you observe, there is a major problem over here. Now after counting we got W and I, right? Both of them have value as 1, right? Both of them are non-repeating characters, but we want the first one, which is W. What if the order is not maintained? Because here this collect function will return a map, right? And the insertion order inside a map will not be maintained. What if I comes before W and W is printed over here? There is a possibility that there will be output as I instead of W, because your map will not maintain insertion order. It is basically a hash map that will be returned to us. So for a moment, if I try to go back to our last implementation of counting, let me just remove this and let me try to collect it into a variable, and let's try to print this map again. And if I run this, then what it will give us? It will give us hash map basically. It will give us hash map basically, and hash map do not maintain any insertion order. There is a map that maintains an insertion order, and that particular map is your linked hash map. Now how we can tell this guy to make use of linked hash map instead of hash map? So if I go inside grouping by, that is when the third parameter of grouping by comes into picture, which is a supplier and which is a map factory. You can pass which map you want. Now here I can just go ahead and pass the second parameter, say linked hash map, and I can just say new linked hash map. Now this will guarantee the insertion order, and you will get results in same order no matter how many times you run it. Now what we can do, we can go back to our last implementation. There we go. So entry set dot stream dot filter for each entry, get value should be equals to 1, and find first. Let's try to collect it into a variable, and let's try to print this first. And now if I run this code, you will see that we are again getting the respective output, but this time we are making sure that the insertion order is maintained by using linked hash map, and we always get the first non-repeating character inside this particular stream. So this is again a famous interview question. Many people ask this, and this is a major change over here where we are making use of a third parameter inside grouping by, which is what output you want. You want to put it inside a linked hash map. So that is basically the last question for this particular video. And we have seen the variety of questions inside this particular video as well. And these are pretty famous interview questions. I'm sure many of you have already faced or will face this inside your upcoming interviews. That is basically it for this particular video. We have seen another set of intermediate level, which is intermediate B. And in the future videos, we will see more questions and hard level questions as well. That is basically it for this particular video. If you like the video, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to Code Snippet. Share this video with your friends so that they also have idea about Java Stream coding interview questions. That's it for this video. See you in the next video.